have mercy on
Sorry, the music's too loud as usual. Hey, hi, it's Joe. It's week 52, which means it's been a year since we started this whole fun project thing. What is it? Endeavor. Anyway, so yeah, we've been doing this for a whole year. How crazy is that? And so the topic for this week is 1 year update, what has changed since you started last year, and if you think FTMKingdom has helped you at all, if and how. So what has changed? Oh my god, so much has changed. Obviously I've been on T for 10.5 months. I have finished uni. I have, lots of things have changed. And I am so happy. I'm so much happier, so much more comfortable. And the thing that I want to talk about is like stuff that I've sort of learned in the past year. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned to kind of like trust my own judgment in terms of things that I need. With that, the thing that I learned that via was the decision that I made to go to gender care instead of waiting for the NHS, waiting for the waiting for the Charing Cross waiting list. I made the decision in like around this time last year, basically, that I didn't think it would be practical or possibly even like, actually possible for me to wait for Charing Cross. And so instead I went to gender care, even though I could I couldn't really afford it, I could only just sort of afford it. And I think that was just such a good decision. I'm so glad that I did that. I'm so glad that I was able to sort of like make that decision for myself and for what I sort of like needed, despite, needing to sort of assert that in terms of everyone else. A lot of people around me feeling like, God, why would you do that? You can get it free, you just need to wait. And as though I was being ungrateful somehow by, choosing to go privately in the meantime. But I'm so glad that I did. And I think having made that decision and that decision going well for me taught me a lot about my own capacity to judge what I need and what's best for me, which is nice. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people, for example, were saying that wouldn't it be very disruptive to start testosterone just before I went into my final year of uni? And my response was that it would be far more, the effect on my mental health would be far more detrimental to my work if I didn't start testosterone, if I was still, pre-T for my last year of uni, and I believe that would have been very detrimental. Much as testosterone was also, of course it was distracting and difficult going through puberty during my final year of uni. It was much less distracting than the level of dysphoria that I would have experienced would have been. So I'm so glad I made that decision, and I'm so glad that I was able to finish uni. I mean, the sort of priority that I had, the timeline in my head that was really important to me, was being able to have the right name on my degree certificate and be able to have my voice dropped by graduation. I don't know why I found that so important, but that was something that was important to me. I think probably because I was imagining, getting a job, going for like my first post-uni job, and wanting to not have to be, I knew I'd be frightened enough about it anyway, because I wouldn't have worked then really full-time in 3 years, 4 years really, and so I didn't want on top of that the worry of going into the workplace as a not passing trans person. And I'm very relieved that I was able to get to that point where I am, passing all the time now, and I could just sort of like get a job and start work and not have to think about, whether I was passing or not. And that's the other thing that I want to talk about, that I've kind of like sort of has been a big change from last year to this year. I'm working full time now down here in Devon, and we sort of made the decision that while in the future at some point it's possible that I would be in a workplace where I'd be comfortable being out, I don't feel particularly comfortable being out in Devon in the workplace. For those of you not familiar, Devon is not the most open-minded or, diverse area of the world, and so we sort of, came to the decision that it would possibly be safest, even really, for me not to be out at work, and so I'm not out in my workplace. I just sort of, got the job as Joseph, and have been introduced as Joseph, and have been just taken as a cis male, as far as I know. I have no reason to think otherwise. And that has been such an interesting experience. It's been interesting in terms of other people because of the sort of the treatment that you get from other men as who are taking you as a cis male. The treatment that you get from women who are taking you as a cis male, how people behave around you, and also in terms of myself, it's been interesting learning, realizing how actually how comfortable I am with that, because I anticipated that I would feel uncomfortable being stealth, that I would feel as though I were having to kind of like lie or like cover things up, or feel as though I were I don't know, being somehow dishonest, and feel weird about that. But I don't at all feel uncomfortable about people not knowing that I'm trans. I feel like they are seeing a much more genuine version of me. They're seeing me much better and much more honestly as they are now than if they knew that I was trans and were kind of altering their view of me accordingly. I think for me, a large part, well, not a significant part of the point of transitioning is so that people can see you better. Because when people know that you're born female, I think a large proportion of people, even if they will accept you as male and accept that you identify as male and refer to you correctly, they're still going to be seeing you slightly differently. They're still going to be sort of not 100% seeing you as a man, unfortunately. I think that's how a lot of people are, whether they mean to be or not, and that doesn't make them terrible people. That's just, it's quite difficult not to alter your view of someone. And I do think that trans men are, on the whole, sort of a different kind of man in some ways, that they, have a very different life experience, which is going to affect the kind of people that they are, in, sometimes big ways, but not big enough that, that it would be sort of as though someone who doesn't know you're trans is somehow seeing you wrong, or like seeing a not genuine version of you. I don't think. Sorry, that became a little bit incoherent there. Do you get what I'm saying? Hopefully, I think so. So I'm very comfortable being stealth at work, and it's really nice actually having an area of my life where I'm just completely accepted as male without any question as to, without any of the things about me that are, feminine and, a bit, not macho, those not threatening my maleness at all. At the most, it, threatens my sexuality, my heterosexuality, that I'm, camp, and feminine and, little and things. And that has happened, a few times. I did have a gay fella just straight up presume that I was gay and asked me what the gay nightlife is like around here, and I was like, thanks bro, I actually like women. And he was like, no, surely not. So that was hilarious. Yes. What did she say? Just whimpers. So that was quite funny. So I'm have people questioning my sexuality, but not questioning me as male, and that's been really actually nice to have in an area. I don't think I would ever want that in the whole of my life. I don't think I would want the people closest to me to have that kind of like perspective, because I think when it comes to intimate relationships, it's more relevant knowing about your trans history, or trans status. But in professional relationships and like more casual friendships, I don't think I'm actually feeling very comfortable being just being taken as a cis male. It's really, yeah. And the other thing, here's the thing that I want to kind of end on, I think. So I've been here for a while. I've been down here for like a month, and I've been working. I haven't had any trouble, as far as I know. I don't think I've had any trouble anyway. And the other day, Jess came back from work, and she said that she had been in the town centre and seen a trans person who was obviously like not passing and was getting hassle on the street. Basically, someone threw something at this trans woman in the middle of the street in broad daylight. And thinking about that just sort of, it really upset me. I find that very, very upsetting and so sad, and also like makes me quite sort of, I don't know. I would expect that to make me angry, but it mostly just really upsets me and makes me feel sort of like protective and like, you know, sad. And it also got me thinking an awful lot about trans male privilege and about passing privilege. And I think that getting to the stage where I do pass consistently and I'm able to be stealth has given me such an appreciation for how lucky I am that that was something achievable for me. And it gives me so much respect for trans people who, you know, get to the stage where they make the decision to medically transition and to live full-time as their actual gender when they know that they might never pass consistently. I think as it is, knowing that, you know, and I think obviously it still takes, you know, a lot to decide to transition when you know that there's going to be that awkward stage where you're not passing, which I think a lot of people have, you know. But I think making the decision to transition when you know that, yeah, you're going to end up possibly never passing consistently is so incredibly strong and takes so much. And I have so much respect for that woman, you know, for kind of being having the sort of like courage to live genuinely and you know, be outwardly who she actually is, even though she knows that, you know, she could just want to like have a holiday, go on holiday to like a nice like seaside town to try and like enjoy herself and relax a bit, and just get something fucking thrown at her in the street. Like, that makes me so sad, and it also gives me so much sort of appreciation for how difficult life is for a lot of trans people, and it makes me feel so fortunate that I live in the country I live in, that I have the sort of class privilege that I do, that I was able to get medical transition privately to begin with, and for the passing privilege that I have, and for the male privilege that I have, and that I've kind of like stepped into by transitioning and by, you know, being able to pass consistently. And it actually makes me more sort of motivated about trans rights in relation to those people who I feel, you know, a huge affinity to, and a huge feel hugely grateful to and in awe of, who are part of the trans community. And yeah, sorry, this is quite inarticulate. I'm really tired from work. I apologise, but what I'm saying is, I'm so lucky. I'm very lucky, and I have so much respect for people who are also part of this community, but who have a very different experience of being trans. And as I sort of like continue now off on my sort of much easier narrative, I do not intend to forget that and stop paying attention to that. I hope that in various ways I am able to sort of be a spokesperson for you know, feminism and for trans rights, as someone who, you know, who has gotten the really you know, much easier end of the deal in terms of a lot of those things. Having male privilege now in such a sort of evident way to me, where I can see how differently I'm treated in society all the time, and having passing privilege where I can just go a day without, well, go a shift at work without really thinking about the fact that I'm trans, forgetting that I'm, like, you know, binding and stuff. Like, that's just not something that I really fathomed happening, certainly when I was still, you know, pre-surgery and stuff. And it's something that I'm very grateful for. And yes, my aim for the next year, I suppose, is to make very sure that that good fortune that I have doesn't mean that I lose sight of people who have a much more sort of difficult journey within the trans community, and also not lose sight of my sort of feminist roots and my feminist agenda. Yes, I'd like to be like a stealthy mole in groups of cis men and cis people, and be like, yeah, actually, don't say that about women, that's gross. So yeah, that's a kind of aim for me for the next year, is to learn how to, you know, learn how to speak for those kind of like things that I believe in from the position of kind of privilege that I have found myself in. Does that make sense? Was that okay? It's long again. Sorry, I've re-recorded this because the first one was so long and rambly and didn't make any sense. I know this is rambly and doesn't make sense too, but trust me, it's better than the last one. Okay. So yeah, did I say at the beginning already that what we're doing now is we're doing these wrap-up videos of week 52 of like a year update, and then we are gonna take a little hiatus over the summer because we're all quite sort of like busy with like work and moving and stuff, and we're hoping that by the beginning of the academic year we will be a bit more settled and have some more topics too. So I'm not gonna see you for a few months. In the meantime, please have a lovely summer, and please like send us topic suggestions if you like. If you'd like us to come back in September, October, please encourage us to by sending us topic suggestions, because we're sort of running out. Well, we have run out. So yeah, for now, thanks so much for watching. As a quick sort of like nod to whether FTM Kingdom has helped or not, I think having this outlet to sort of discuss how my life is sort of developing as I, you know, start T and move towards like other sort of medical transition things has been really wonderful and interesting and thought-provoking for me, and I really appreciate all of the other guys on the channel. I really appreciate everyone watching. It's been swell, and I hope that, yes, I hope we'll see you in a few months. Yeah, I'm going to try and attach a clip at the end here of like my first video, if I can figure out how to do it. If not, you should just go back and watch it, and then watch this, just for fun, as a proper like comparison thing, because it's quite funny. Alright, thanks so much for watching. Stay cool. Bye.
Hey! Welcome to FTM Kingdom. It's Monday, and I'm Joe, and I'm going to start out by warning you that I don't know how to edit videos.
Hey, I did it. Maybe. Possibly not. Thanks so much for watching. Stay cool. Bye, Jess. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.